Look, I should have without electricity.
So you see the title here, it's about participation, so it's about grassroots democracy between bottom-up and top-down development. And then this is some artwork by Ayanda Mabulu. So this is the face of the capitalist machine looking at us, and this is the cow, which is dripping blood that feeds the machine and symbolizes in his artwork people's dignity. But this is happening, so while people are organizing grassroots democracy, the capitalist machine is continuing to function. So that's what this is symbolizing and what the book is about. But it's also looking at, the bright side of it, the light side of it, the potential for transformation. The book looks at the potential possibilities for the people of Thembelihle to transform and decolonize society. So yeah, just thank you very much.
Thanks.
So, first thing first, ngazi ukubuza ama-comrade how many researchers had come like Thembelihle and done this. None. They only come and do whatever they do and then they're gone. Some of them, they even promise to come for a report back about me. So something like this is something way special. What is special? It's something as a Thembelihle Crisis Committee we've never had.
And they're forgetting in day one, in a high rate of unemployment, youth, pregnancy and all that.
Making empty promises that no, they will facilitate, meetings between the city and the Thembelihle Crisis Committee, So, but those meetings that they've tried to facilitate, were fruitless because up until to date, we don't have the raw data.
This book means a lot to us, being part of the struggle in Thembelihle, because our grandchildren will read from it and maybe will inspire them to take over the struggle that say South Africa, seeing that our parents, this is what they were doing in life, and seeing things not going well, then maybe they will have that thing of taking the struggle forward.
Kugcwaliseka ithemba elihle ngogesi. This is a formula that I think must be adopted by the country because it helps us to address energy whilst we're addressing other services, because energy is a necessity. Certainly we are criminalizing our people who are in need of energy. So we can say they connect themselves. They just connect.
I'll just go back to the beginning. So I met the Thembelihle Crisis Committee in the late 2000s, and then I worked with the TCC as a member of the Democratic Left Front and Keep Left in the early 2010s, and I also witnessed the 2011 local government elections where OKM, Operation Kandisa movement, was active, and that became TCC and SEC became like the guiding light of that umbrella social movement. So it was something I was wanting to work on, to do a history of for a long time. And then also Tsepzee and I go back as well, because we did research in Marikana around 2013, 2014. And then in 2019, I started doing a bit of research in 2018 with Tsepzee. Then in 2019, I attended one of the Saturday members' meetings and addressed the members of the TCC around doing a possible history. It was like recording a people's history of the Thembelihle Crisis Committee, which is like the struggle of the community over the last 20 years. And then we worked on it and we did interviews, around 30 in-depth interviews with different leaders, but I'm sure we missed some of the people, but we did, as much as we could. So we were engaging with people and doing interviews of like 90-minute interviews to try to find out who the people are and what they've done, how they became part of the struggle, and also how being part of the struggle here has affected their personal lives. And then we looked at the origins of the TCC in a context where the TCC was one of the first new social movements in post-apartheid South Africa. So the ANC came into power, then it adopted these neoliberal capitalist policies, and then people started protesting against electricity, water cutoffs, and evictions. And then the Thembelihle Crisis Committee became strong in that context when the government tried to evict people. The Red Ants came, and then hundreds or thousands of people came out into the streets to stop it. But they managed to sustain with the impressive thing, that we thought, looking in a way from the outside, but also seeing TCC's involvement with other working class organizations like Marikana. That it was impressive that it had entered into electoral politics. It engaged in solidarity outside of Thembelihle, and also it's managed to sustain itself even up till now. Now you can say, more than 20 years, because you're still meeting as an executive members meeting, and then the People's Parliament as well is detailed. The relationship between the TCC and the People's Parliament, which represents the entire community. So we tried to detail that from the early 2000s throughout until the 2011 protests that I'm sure you remember over electricity, and then even into that 2015, I think that was the longest sort of occupation or shutdown that took place over a period of a few weeks. And then even that the protests and resistance, even leading to casualties, arrests, people getting shot at. We tried to detail all of that stuff and get a sense of what it meant. And as well as the policy change that resulted in 2016, 2015, because finally the government decided we will not evict the people and we'll start building the electricity. And then into the present period, in a context where COVID-19 has hit working class communities hard, the left is weak, the TCC remains, but then the idea of the book now is to give books to the people who participated, to give over, at least a book to the executive itself, and then to have a launch in the community where we give a few books to people in the community and people decide what they want to do with the book and with the information in it. But we thought it could be a valuable resource, to mobilize people or, to think through even generations from now. People can look and see, who was part of this, what kind of challenges they were faced with, and also the difficulties that activists and revolutionaries have in a context where there is or appears to be democracy, but in fact the vast majority of people are excluded from decision-making processes. Yeah, so I was hoping that there might be some idea of a date that we could have, if you agree, if this meeting agrees, where we could have the launch, give away some books, just a few books. Each member who was part of it was interviewed will give a book. Then we'll give a few more away at the launch.
Kunama-computer interview ibhekana ukuthi basuka kuphi bafika kanjani thina kuza kanjani amadoda nomzabalazo ayichazi kuphela ngomzabalazo but ngama-interviews ukuthi yini ekushape yini ekwenza ukuthi ugcine manje ufuna ukubona ushintsho, you understand? I think affect nayo omunye wa-interview, you understand? So I think because sikhuluma ngazo they are there in the book, and then zenza ukuthi nento ofundayo abone ubunzima esidlule kuboshwa kwabantu. Uharasa wamaphoyisa, I remember 2015 when state of emergency unama-soldier la, those kind of stories are there in the book. Futhi nama uyifunda ingqondo yakho ibuyele emuva to say, I remember that day action ngova ngo-4 actually, like these are things esisifuna ukuzibona abantwana bethu or next generation sifunde ngayo ukuthi iThembelihle ila today because TCC stand firm with the community. So those are kind of things that exist to not in there. But I think Luke, especially UJ, he keep left. Yeah. So once this possible because you was if baningi abantu ababhala ngeTCC noma online or kuma website or ku internet more check more Thembelihle community iyavela. There's so many people who wrote about us. And there are so many people about the Thembelihle bayenze research and they don't come back but reported back with what were the findings or about yini into abayitholile, you understand, or yini into abayicabanga ukuthi singayenza ukushape our struggle, you understand. But I think this book just nikezela that ndlela, you understand, and should come ukuthi motivation because more ifunda uyabona ukuthi yonke into bengiyenza bengayenzele umnyama.
Just thanks again for the book. It looks very interesting. So one is just can't wait for the meeting to start. Seriously. Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
2002, 2003, and in around 2003, I think, well, in 2002, unfortunately, there's an incident that happened in Thembelihle, where the city of Johannesburg wanted to forcefully remove the community of Thembelihle to Vlakfontein. And they did that illegally because they did not have a court order to remove the community of Thembelihle. However, regardless of the law or not, the resident of Thembelihle stood up and resisted that forced removal, whether it was legal or not. But we later discovered that actually it was illegal because there was no court order as per legal procedures. Now, I think that resistance also reinforced the significance or the importance of the TCC as an organization in the community. The primary goal of the Thembelihle Crisis Committee was to see a better Thembelihle from what it is today.
When one speaks about police brutality, I don't have teeth. My teeth were taken by the police. I remember when I was shot, I was standing with my comrade here. But by that time, in 2001, I was not highly involved in the struggle. You know, I was a businessman, a businessman. So I went to this protest which we had Robotini. The people were on the other side of the informal settlement. I was standing with one journalist. Ben, hey man, something man went to my mouth. In a second, when I looked at I could feel that, no man, something's wrong here. Because the lips, they were torn apart. Now I was looking for my teeth. I couldn't find my teeth because even if I had to swallow those teeth, I could have here now again. I went to the police. I went to them. No, people were screaming, say, don't go there, they will arrest you. Because now it was like a baby or a toddler. I started now to speak differently. There are some alphabets which I cannot mention or say. I went to the police. When I was talking to them, they even couldn't hear me what I was saying because of, the lips were somewhere there, the teeth were not there. I was taken to Bara. The following day, around about 1 o'clock midnight, police came to my house to say, then MEC of safety, they wanted a statement from me, right? They wanted a statement from me because I went and opened a case against the police at the Lenisa police station. So they said they wanted a statement from me. I went with them. On my way, I could see these people arrest because I wanted to take my medication. So no, we are coming back. They said, do you have any weaknesses? My first weakness was this gentleman here. I went to Comrade Bad. When they went to Comrade, they pulled out guns. I said, no, something's wrong here. It would be like I'm selling my comrade here. They said they couldn't find Mbata. Mbata went, he will tell you where he went. We went to this, they said, no, any other weakness? I said, no. Because I could see that these people are here to arrest, not to take whatever statement from me. I was locked up for a couple of days. When we arrived at the police station around about 6 o'clock in the morning, one policeman asked, what about this one? I said, no, he's implicating himself on the statement. I was locked up, and I never went to court. I spent 9 days. I was taken up and down, and I was told not to be involved in any protest. That was the beginning of my involvement. My activism started there. And Thembelihle Crisis Committee, it started 7 years after democracy. It tells you something. We could pick up 7 years after this democracy that there's something wrong with this government.
For ETCC per se, I think as ETCC, we just need to close loopholes there and there. Then we take this struggle forward. We need to go back to the drawing board and sit down and plan again, because now we achieved something. Then we need to move from there. And the challenge that I have seen from our communities that immediately when the people got the electricity, then they tend to relax, thinking that no, it's uhuru, then we are done with the struggle, we have electricity. Can't the struggle still continue because we're living in Kuku, we are still there in Kuku age.
It reminds me one time when I was still at school, we went for a protest day. Then police now were coming. So we are asking the LRC, guys, what is happening? What is the way forward? And the leader at that particular time said, the way forward is to go back. And mind you, we are first years, we don't know, we are here, we are protesting here, face must fall, we are comrades. Then we are asking, guys, here are police, where are we going? They say the way forward is to go there. So I think this is a good start. I'm one of those members of TCC who were at home, but now it's painful because when you look at the situation currently at Thembelihle, but first of all, Comrade Luke, thank you very much, because this is something that our great grandkids will see. But now the problem is, as we wish for them to see this, what will be happening now? What is the way forward? Because currently the issues, really, Thembelihle Crisis Committee, we have to sit down. This is the time where we need to sit down more than before. Comrade Vice has touched something that the current, I don't know, I would say the current councillor or the current acting councillor, I'm not sure what to call it, is from another community. That reason is because at Thembelihle now, there is no one to stand up. And as people of Thembelihle, it's so painful because we knew that whenever something is happening, Thembelihle Crisis Committee will always be there to protect us. So I would also say that, comrades, this is the time when we have to stand up. There's nothing for us without us. The reason why our next door is taking decision on our behalf is because now there are those loopholes, and those loopholes are costing us. So as Thembelihle Crisis Committee, as a member, I would say this is the high time where we go back to the drawing board. We go back and do things the way we know it, the way we know how to do it best. Thank you very much.
The rich history that you are hearing, it's all here in this book. If you are willing to donate, you can donate 200 Rand today for this book.
Now, Operation Kanisa movement, in the movement we had to fight hard. In the IPF, people said, no, we understand, we do understand there's problems with elections, there's problems with parliament, but we also understood that many people were looking at the Johannesburg Parliament or the government. And you can't just stand here saying, here's the road to the future, when people are looking over there to the road to the future. We need to be there. And funny enough, in the IPF, they accused us, you just want to come rich. You're going to be corrupt. In fact, it was the comrades that were arguing that point that did become corrupt. The OKM movement did not become corrupt. The councillor got given money, food on the table, that you can buy decent clothes to be respectable to stand in parliament. We don't want you looking like a skorokoro, okay? But the rest of the money came back to the movement. Today, parliament and government, all these parties that you see, it's like a business. The mayor, suddenly this, we don't know who this mayor was. Who's this guy? All right. Suddenly he's getting 120,000 Rand a month. Okay, he's not going to be with you, I can assure you. Operation Kanisa, switch on. Switch on, also switch on hope. Change our minds. Bring enlightenment. Bring new methods, bring history. Like that point about only the councillor getting so much so they can live decently, all right? Not enriching. That comes from 1870, when the people rose up in Paris. That's the law they made. And this history, the proud moments of the GCC, it is hard now. These movements are not all blossoming and up. It's difficult to keep this thing going. We've had our high points. We had a bit of a, don't know quite what to do, bumbling along. Yes, we try and keep it. But it's the memory that is implanted in us that cannot be taken away, that there are ways to win, that's from below. We have won things here, the comrades, I can't say myself, I handed out lots of pamphlets for Operation Come. That's my role that I did in printing t-shirts and little things like that. But we won a memory, an important thing, that we can change things through struggle. We can have people who are not corrupt. We can have democracy from below. We can treat each other with honor and respect, irrespective of where you came from. And that memory we have to hold on and fight for our better life, because it's the memory of the future of the life we want to see. Thank you, Comrade.
I'm very grateful to be here. I'm a student from the University of Johannesburg. I'm studying development studies. And when I heard that there would be book launch. I was excited to come here, and I must mention that it's my first time entering an informal settlement. I mean, I've known what it is, but I've never actually entered one, and I was really impressed to see how organized this community is. And yeah, I remember in one of our lectures, I asked Bab Tsepzee, seeing how capitalism is always able to adapt to each and every situation. You know, when societies change, it always has this ability to insert itself and change its form. I asked him, so how are we going to fight this monster? How is it possible that we're going to do it? And I started doubting, you know, our power as the people. But then coming here today, I see that we actually do have the power. Amandla awethu ngempela, and we own this power, and that it's possible if we all come together and stand as one people. So yeah, that's what I've learned from today, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
One reason the bourgeoisie keep the working class under pressure is just so that you cannot think beyond today. You cannot think beyond month end because you are always bankrupt, short, can you see? And then you've heard about how the bourgeoisie, they plan for 20 years, 50 years. Yeah, if you're comfortable with everything, you could plan for 50 years. But if you don't know what you're going to eat tonight, how are you going to plan even longer than a week? So, but Thembelihle, especially TCC, was able to keep that vision of a different future, of a future where ordinary people, working class people, take control and run the country, run society, run the world. So for that, I really take off my hat to the TCC, especially its leadership, because you know, with everything happening this way, that way, sometimes it's hard to keep a clear focus on that vision. Just look at what happened to the South African Communist Party. I mean, they forgot who they are. Look at the ANC, they forgot who they are. I know we still have some hope in EFF, but I think they are quickly forgetting who they are. But I think TCC maintained that vision. So sitting here, listening, I was reminded, and from what comrades were saying in the speeches, I think that vision has not become smaller. It's become stronger, brighter. As you know, when it's real dark, one star can actually make a big difference. So I think Thembelihle not only shows the working class what it is, but what it can be. And thank you, Luke, for writing this book, because our children, our children's children will read about what happened at Thembelihle. What happened here, what is happening here is something special. Thank you very much.